Good evening, everyone. This is Lizzie,
And I'm May.
and we are Mayhem Mamas.
We're on this channel. We talk about whatever we want because guess what? It's our
It's
channel.
our channel.
It
Yes, it
is.
is. And we
We've
do
gotten
talk
paid
about what we
for it.
want. We've gotten, I've gotten paid in more fat and lard added to the butter from sitting around eating a bunch of junk. That's how we get
Oh,
paid. Okay.
yeah.
So tonight's a fun one. We decided that we wanted to just talk about something really fun. But before we get into that, I just want to say thank you for joining us again. We appreciate your support. Hit the subscribe button. That is free. It doesn't cost you a thing, but it helps us out. And comment. Let us know what you're thinking and how you feel. Okay, so tonight we're going to talk about fall family fun, things to do. Um, things that we've done as kids, things that we've done with our kids, things as we do as for adults. There's just so many things that you can do. Some are free, some aren't, but just to try to remember the season that we're in and enjoy, get outside and do some things with your family. One of the first things that I love to do is go to the pumpkin patch.
Yes. Yeah.
I love riding the hay ride out to the patch where the pumpkins are, going through the pumpkins and picking my perfect pumpkin out, going back up, having it weighed, pay for it, doing the corn maze. Um, if they have any type of like the little uh, slide things, what are the oh, what am I trying to say? You grab a hold of the little bars and you slide down like a zip lines. I love
Oh,
doing
yeah.
zip lines and that kind of stuff. I just love going to pumpkin patch.
Right. I feel like this is something, and this may be totally wrong because I didn't. It's been a while. I didn't grow up here in this area locally. It was a while back, but I feel like pumpkin patches and on farms and doing that kind of thing just evolved over the past 20 years. Am I wrong?
Um, no, no, they haven't just evolved in the past 20 years. I think they've gotten more popular. I think people have decided that they like having experiences with their family and their kids. And so I definitely agree that they've gotten more popular. But they were around prior to that because I remember taking my daughter to pumpkin patches.
Okay, so it's probably just social media and being aware of it more
Exactly.
is what has made it. And of course, they are huge photo ops.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
And they've turned into these big events. Like used to be when I took my child to a pumpkin patch, that was what
Mhm.
it was, a pumpkin patch. You get on this rickety old hayride thing, go
Mhm.
out there wondering if it was going to make its way back without busting loose, you
Right.
know. You get your pumpkin and you go back. But now they have
Mhm.
all these other things and a lot of these other things probably have been added more recently, but um it's an event. Like, it's a
Okay.
huge, big event, and they're
Okay.
I'm assuming they make tons of money
Oh,
because it's not
absolutely.
cheap to get into a lot of these places,
No.
but I love 'em. I love, the corn mazes because you're having to work together in a group to try to figure out how to get yourself out of it. I it's for me, it's that fun learning play. So,
Okay.
your kids are having fun and they don't realize that they're actually learning stuff.
Okay. Okay. So
And
I've been to one actual pumpkin patch, and that was with my daughter.
okay.
And so that's the only one I've ever really experienced.
Uh-huh.
But it was a lot of fun. So,
Yeah, I think it's great.
yeah.
You can go out there and spend the day. They generally have a place like a little snack shack or a little shop where you can
Right.
get food, and they have bonfire, little fire pits, bonfires going, and all kinds of stuff going on. It's definitely an event. So that is so much fun. The other thing I like to do is go to fall festivals. And when I mean fall festivals, I don't necessarily mean like the craft festivals. I'm
Mhm.
talking more about like outdoor events where they might have some pop-up shops, they might have some um live music, and then they have food trucks and vendors, and you can buy pumpkins and you can buy gourds and you can get corn husks or yeah, and stuff like that, and stalks to put on to decorate with. I love
Mhm.
going to those types of things. What about you?
I did like we talked about, I don't remember how many episodes ago. There's a huge craft type situation that is held here, and I do like going to that, except
Uh-huh.
for the strollers. I hate those stupid strollers. And
Right, those push carts that people
yes,
bring with them to hold their stuff, not to hold babies, but to hold their
no.
stuff.
And now I've heard that people are opting out for strollers and putting their children in wagons now. Like that's a thing.
Right, right,
Even like even in life, they're not using strollers. They're using wagons for their
right.
babies.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
I I don't understand it because I don't have a baby, so I don't understand it. But s- I don't want to be hit with a wagon. I don't want to be hit with a stroller. But I enjoy looking at
Right.
people's creations and their crafts, and uh,
Uh-huh.
I really enjoy that kind of stuff. I enjoy the
Right.
definitely the food. I mean,
Oh, for sure, yeah.
there's
Yes, for
nothing like
sure. The
the
food's always really good.
exactly. So I do love
Yeah.
that part of it. I've
Uh-huh.
never been
And
to
I
like a
do
small town fall festival or anything. I've been to a
Uh-huh,
summer one, not a fall one.
uh-huh. Well, I do appreciate the fall craft shows as well, though. I mean, that's not like my favorite thing of fall, but I do enjoy them. A lot of times, you can get some really cool ideas and get some, some early Christmas shopping done and that kind of thing.
Mhm.
The other thing that I like to do is farmers markets.
I
I
have never
love
been.
You've never been to a
I
farmer's
have
market?
never been.
Oh my gosh, we've got several that are near us. We should go.
Mhm.
I'll take you.
Yeah.
We'll do that. Yeah, there's so much fun getting the fresh fruit and vegetables that are in season, and I just love going. A lot of times there'll be people there, that have made some fresh breads and fresh desserts and just different things like that. I enjoy that. Plus, they're usually outside, and I enjoy being able to get out into the
Right.
cooler weather
Right.
and just take that all in.
So let
Um,
me ask you this:
uh-huh.
should you share your daughter's farmers market experience with our
Well, I
listeners?
can. I can.
I
Oh,
mean, that's totally if you want
yeah.
to.
No, I can share it. This is true, and I have to say, beware. This is graphic. Um, trigger warning here. Okay, so my daughter and my daughter-in-law went to a. They live in a different state from me, and they went to a farmer's market one day, and they were, just obviously you walk through, you look at what everybody's got, you buy, and sometimes you buy uh, bags of fruit. Sometimes you just buy a couple of things. Well, they had bought, I think, quite a bit of stuff, but they'd also bought some stuff that they were just going to snack on because they were going to run other errands or whatever they're doing for their day. And so they were getting hungry. So they go and get back in the car and they kind of get into their bags and decide what they're going to eat. And so my daughter takes a bite. What was the fruit that she?
I thought it was a peach. I felt
It
like you said
was.
it was
It
a
was a peach.
peach.
I think it was a peach. Um, She took a bite out of a peach, and, she took a big old bite, and she's chewing, and she's looking, and then she looks at her fruit, and it is just infested with maggots. Oh,
Mm.
oh,
Mm.
so she immediately, starts the gagging and the spitting and the opening of the door. I can't even imagine
Mhm.
what that must have been like. I can't even. I would have probably had nightmares still to
Mhm.
this day. Um, So, yeah, and then it starts running through her mind, "Oh my gosh, I need to go to the doctor. What the heck?" I
Mhm.
just ate maggots because she had
Mhm.
swallowed some of it. It was in her mouth. And so then, of
Mhm.
course, they get on the internet and start, that's the last thing you want to do, but you get on the internet because it's
Uh-huh.
available. Oh, if these things you don't want them to get into your gums and your, da 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 da. So anyway, they ended up taking a trip to urgent care, and Anyway, apparently there's not a whole lot to be worried about unless there is, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
One of those
yeah.
stories, "Oh, you're gonna be fine unless you get an
Mhm.
infection." Then
Yeah,
so anyway, but the whole experience, I can't even imagine.
no.
She said she's never buying fruit again, and she's never going back to a farmer's market, and I concur. If that woulda happened to me,
Mhm.
same
That's
story.
a Wes Craven movie. I mean, that's
Yes,
just
it is. Oh my
oh,
gosh. Yeah, such
bless
a
her
movie.
heart.
So, moral of this story is inspect your fruit, don't bite into it. Wait till you get home and slice it with a
Yeah,
knife and look
cut it
inside
open.
your fruit before you eat.
Cut it open. Yeah.
Disgusting. Poor baby
Uh,
girl, I am sorry.
so another thing that I worry about, other than that, because I had never thought of that happening, but I mean, it does make sense if you pick them up off the trees and whatnot. But another thing I worry about is everybody going like to Sam's or Walmart and just buying a bunch of fruit, putting it in a wooden crate and saying, "Yeah, I grew this up off my farm," and charging
Yeah,
three
and I
times as much
mean, there
for it.
probably is people that do that, but where we live, we're a huge farming state.
Yeah,
And
but it.
so I think a lot of times, most of the people and the places that I go are
Mhm.
more, you know, that they're coming from a farm, as opposed to, I imagine that happens all over the place. I imagine it does
Well, I
happen.
can definitely tell
But
you
where
it
we live and
happens
we live
on
in
the
smaller
corner.
communities, oh yeah. Oh yeah. You just kind of have to,
Yeah.
you just kind of have to be aware of what you're doing and who you're dealing with. And that's kind of in any situation, you know.
Right.
But I still enjoy
Yeah.
farmers markets. So, but my poor baby girl. Oh, I love you, baby. Okay. One of the other things that I like to do in the fall time, and these things are just more things that, that are don't really cost you money. But who doesn't love a fall
Mhm.
cookout? I
Right.
mean, the weather's nice and you can do all kinds of things you can have your bonfire, have your cookout, get in the backyard and have games out in the backyard, yard games out in the backyard. What a nice way to
Right.
spend an evening with your kids and your family and that doesn't really cost you. I mean, you're going to have to buy food anyway, you got to eat.
Right. Right.
Um and I just love that. Also, one thing that's been popular for quite a while is like harvest community parties or harvest block like a block party type thing where you get together with some of your neighbors and you do a fall cookout party.
Yeah.
Um, Before I
There
moved
are
back to
none,
this
not
current
really very many there are not very many of my
there's
neighbors I
not
wanna.
what?
Nope.
Well, yeah,
There are
and
not
you
very
know
many
what?
of my
I think a
neighbors I
lot of
wanna do that
times
with.
and I understand that, but what I was gonna say is before I moved back to this state, I was living in another state, and this has been quite a few years ago now, but, so my daughter was younger, and the neighborhood that we lived in was just that seriously, it wasn't a long time ago, but it was just that old-fashioned feel where
Mhm.
there was, like, 6 or 8 of us there on the end of our block that got along, our kids played together, we got along as adults, and we did a yearly party, and we just had a blast, we loved it, but it was that neighborhood where everybody took care of everybody watched everybody's
Mhm.
kids, everybody knew what was going on, and that just doesn't happen anymore. I think our
No.
lives have just gotten so busy, so hectic, people don't have
Mhm.
time. Like, you pull in the driveway, and sometimes I'll be like, "Oh, please don't see me,
Yeah.
because I don't wanna stop and talk, and I feel so
Mhm.
bad for that. It's like, come on now. When does life get so hectic that you can't have a kind word to say to your neighbor? It
It's just so weird in society right now. I mean, we we don't have time to talk to our neighbors, but yet we get on social media with strangers
and
and
spend
post about our lives. It's
well,
just
and
weird.
spend hours scrolling
Uh-huh.
and looking
Yeah.
about everybody else's lives, but you can't, have a communication conversation in person with
With a
somebody,
real
and
human.
I know
Yeah. Right.
and I'm guilty of that, I am, and I hate that,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
but it was so nice to live in that neighborhood and have those types of neighbors that we genuinely loved and cared about each other and our children, and we got along and did things like that. The other thing I love to do in the fall time is carve pumpkins.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether whether you celebrate Halloween or you don't celebrate Halloween, just carving pumpkins, that's just something that everybody can do, and it doesn't have to be scary or
Mhm.
whatever, it's just one of the I love carving pumpkins and baking the pumpkin seeds afterwards, and, um, it's just so much fun. Kids love to do that, and now it's easier than ever, like, you can go to town and you can buy the little stencils that you put over them to help
Right.
do the perfect job, and those little fancy scoopers that they have now, so you don't have to get your hands dirty.
Yeah, that's something I
Like
was gonna say that has really evolved since I was a kid. Since I was a
yes.
kid, you drew the triangles on the face and then you do
Yes!
the mouth. Uh, Now, I don't know if you've seen it, but on cable television, they have one of the channels. I'm uncertain as to what channel it is, but these people take carving a pumpkin to a whole new level.
Yes.
Like,
It is artwork.
oh my gosh, like they
Yeah.
will take like the skin off the pumpkin and leave like I guess the rind on it, and so but not carve it all the way through to add some kind of different texture to it,
Uh-huh,
and
definition. Mhm.
it's just amazing what they can do with it. I mean,
Yeah,
and like you said,
it's
they've got the stencils and you can paint them, or they have like little plastic Mr. Potato Head pieces you can
Oh,
put
I
on them to make them look.
know!
It's just
It's crazy.
so amazing.
Plus, they have those little teeny tiny carving knives, that have
Mhm.
the little teeth in them that aren't like, my dad
Yes.
used to get, like, the big old butcher knife out, It's
Yes.
like, "Stand back, kids, so you don't get hurt." I
Yes.
mean, that kinda thing. Now, you can give those little
Yes.
tools to kids, and they can do it, and they're not gonna cut themselves. So,
Right.
it's really went from a, "Gather around the table, dad's gonna carve the pumpkin," to
Right.
everybody's included now, and I think that's wonderful. I
Yes.
love that. The other thing that a lot of people always just forget about doing, unless it's something that you do on a daily or weekly basis, is just getting out of your house and going for a walk.
Yeah.
Just get out of your house and going for a bike ride with your kids. It's beautiful weather, the foliage is turning. I mean, it just makes it nice. That's the other one that's a big one that's I mean, I don't wanna say it's free anymore because the price of gasoline is outrageous, but
Mhm.
if you go on a fall foliage drive
Yeah.
tour, it
Right.
just to see the different leaves and collect leaves with your kids, and it's just nice.
Did you ever press leaves as a kid through the wax
Yes,
paper?
yes, I
Mhm.
did. We used to press did you use, I used to press them, but did you used to do, like, the crayon shavings as well with the
Uh-uh.
wax paper? Yeah,
Uh-uh.
we used to take the leaves and put them down and press them, but
Uh-huh.
then just to add some fun things, you take a crayon and kinda shave off with you could just use, like, a butter knife or a pair of scissors and just shave off some of the coloring and let it
Uh-huh.
fall on the wax paper, and then put a top coat on it, and then iron it,
Ah.
and it melts the colors together, and it makes it look like leaves.
Well, that's
Yeah, we used
cool.
to do that. Yeah, it was really cool. Yep, we used to do that.
Hmm.
But just fun things like that that doesn't require a lot of money or going anywhere,
Mhm.
because I know
Yeah.
times are hard for people. The price of everything's gone up and it's just hard, but there's fun things like that that you can do. Um,
Mhm.
one of the other things I think is fun too is to go camping in the fall.
That
I
yeah.
love camping. Oh my gosh. Camping at fall and you cook your
Yes.
food on the fire and you have your s'mores and you tell ghost stories around the campfire, that kind of stuff. I just love that. Now I'm a scaredy cat, and so you could tell me just the funniest, craziest, not even scary ghost story, and just because you're calling it a ghost story, I'm gonna get scared. But I do enjoy that.
Yeah.
I do enjoy doing that. Um,
Yes.
Visit a national park. Visit a state park that you have. There's all kinds of things you can
Yeah.
do. They have walking trails and biking trails and, um, just all kinds of stuff you can do that generally, if it is a charge, it's a very minimal charge per carload. Get the kids out and go to something like
Mhm.
that. Um, Another thing I like to do in the fall time is pick apples. Like, go to an apple orchard and pick apples, and, um, generally, there's not a fee, like, to get into the orchard, you just pay for, um, the apples that you gather in your little bushel basket, and you pay for those, and then you take them home, and you've got stuff to make apple pies, apple cobblers, caramel apples, whatever you want to do with that. That's always a fun thing to do.
Okay. Yeah, I would have never thought of anything like that.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. Let's see, what else do I have on my list? Another thing is to fly a kite.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's fun. I mean, a lot of times the fall is a little more blustery, windy type
Right.
conditions. Now, the state that we live in, the wind blows every day.
Mhm.
Um, and if you try to put a kite up, it's going to take it out
Right.
with you too, probably because the wind is so strong. But
Right.
it's a great time to do that kind of thing. And if you have older kids, another thing that's fun to do is to like visit a haunted house because
Right.
everybody's got their haunted forest, haunted house, haunted hayride, all that kind of stuff up. And so that's always a fun thing to do
Right.
during the fall.
And there are still, I mean, if a place is haunted legitimately, it's going to be haunted year round. The spirits don't just come out in October.
Right,
They're
exactly.
going to be there all year round.
Well, and most of the things that like I was just specifically talking about are just things that are put up and put on by people,
Right.
for
Right.
this type of the season. But yeah, absolutely.
Right.
The other thing that's fun to do is take a mountain trip because you do have the turning of the leaves. If you go
Right.
in early fall before the snow starts, like, go to Colorado or, in the Tennessee, in the mountains somewhere, West Virginia, wherever, those make great trips even just to take your camping trips to
Oh, absolutely.
if you're going to do that kind of thing. I always like to, when I used to take or think about taking Christmas card pictures and photos,
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
fall is always a really pretty time to do that because you can get
Right.
outside and take your pictures and instead of having to be inside when it's cold.
Right. Absolutely.
Um, make a scarecrow.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's super, super cute fall decorations for your yard.
Right. And it doesn't have to be expensive. I mean, you can
No.
get clothes that you're going to donate and use, or you can, if you don't have any of those lying around, you can go to the thrift store if you want a certain look that you're trying to give your scarecrow, or
Right.
do something like that. Yeah, that's a
Y-
great idea.
Yeah, just grab out an old broom or a pole or whatever and then just
Uh-huh.
go in and scrounge around for clothes that you don't use anymore.
Uh-huh.
And that's a really cheap idea, and kids love to do things like that.
Oh
They
yeah.
would just have a blast doing something like that. And then when you're out there making this scarecrow, you could always make it a cleanup effort and rake and play in leaves.
Mm-hmm.
That's always fun to do as well. Plus, the fall time is a great time to collect pine cones.
Yes.
My mom used to always get pine cones. She loves to use them when she's decorating in her home.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of people do that, around this season and in the winter months,
Right.
Christmas and stuff.
And
And
there's so
so,
many things you can do with pine cones as crafts and decorations, and you can get the kids involved with the pine cone bird feeders, with the
right.
peanut butter and the bird seed and all that fun stuff. Yeah,
Uh-huh,
there's
yeah.
tons of stuff you can do with those things.
Yeah, and virtually no money spent.
Right.
The other thing that's always fun to do is football games in the fall.
Uh-huh.
Go to a football game, have a tailgate party. That's a good time to maybe try out your new recipes for tailgating. Also, the fall time is always when I try out like new soup recipes and chili and crock pot recipes and that kind of stuff.
Right. Right.
Um, and there's just so many fun things to do. These are just a few that we kind of touched on for you. But this fall, get outside, get your kids outside, get your family outside, make some memories, and do some fun stuff that gets you out from in front of the TV or the games or the phone.
Get some
Uh,
vitamin D from that sun.
yes,
That's
for
a
sure.
huge help with, mental health and stuff. And I read an article, actually I just read the headline, but right now a lot of Americans have a vitamin D deficiency because we are indoor people now.
Right, right. Yeah,
So,
because of COVID, it's made people a little more leery about going outside and going
right,
into other areas, and so we've just become these people that hang out inside all the time. So,
like
yeah, get out.
vampires.
Yes, Get out and have some fun and enjoy the
Yeah.
fall. Again, we want to say thank you for joining us. Hit that subscribe button. Send us some comments. Let us know how we're doing. Have a good evening, and we'll see you back next time.
Bye.